Human kisses alien girl. Next day she brings him their new baby face with rolling eyes. Elias Carter was not an important man. He was not a captain, not a scientist whose name appeared in journals, and not a hero whose face showed up on station banners. He was a xenolinguistics assistant, which meant his job was mostly listening, translating, explaining, and apologizing when cultures misunderstood one another. On Orion Station, misunderstandings happened every day. The station floated between several trade routes, a huge metal city filled with species from dozens of star systems. Some breathed air like humans, some breathed vapor, some did not breathe at all. The walls changed temperature depending on who walked past. Signs shifted language automatically. It was busy, loud, colorful, and exhausting. Elias liked it anyway. He liked watching aliens learn human words. He liked learning theirs. He liked the feeling that humanity, small and young compared to most spacefaring species, still mattered because humans were good at one thing: understanding others. That was how he met Lureth. She was not human, but she looked closer to human than most aliens Elias had worked with. She stood slightly taller than him, with smooth silver-blue skin and long dark eyes that reflected light like calm water. Her hair, if it could be called hair, flowed like thin strands of glass, changing color depending on her mood. She came from the Thrixari collective, a species known for diplomacy, patience, and very strict cultural rules. That last part was why Elias was assigned to her. Lureth was an observer envoy, sent to study human behavior before formal trade agreements were finalized. She spent long hours with Elias, asking questions that seemed simple but were never truly simple. Why do humans raise their voices when they are excited? Lureth found that fascinating. They met almost every day in the cultural exchange wing, sitting across from each other at a small round table. Elias explained jokes. Lureth explained silence. Elias explained birthdays. Lureth explained seasonal memory rituals. Over time, something gentle formed between them. Not romance, not attraction, at least not in the way humans described it. It was comfort, trust, a shared space where neither felt judged. Elias did not realize how rare that was. On the final day of Lureth's observation cycle, the station lights dimmed into artificial evening. The trade wing slowly emptied as crews rotated shifts. Lureth closed her data tablet and tilted her head, a Thrixari sign of reflection. "I have completed my primary study," she said calmly. Elias smiled, a little sad. "Guess this is goodbye then." "For now," Lureth replied. "Human interactions require long-term observation." They stood near the exit corridor. For a moment, neither spoke. Elias felt awkward, the way humans often did when a moment felt important but no rule existed for how to end it. Then he did something very human. He stepped forward and gently kissed Lureth on the cheek. It was quick, light. A friendly gesture he had learned growing up from relatives who hugged too much and kissed cheeks at every goodbye. "There," he said, already stepping back. "Human farewell means goodwill, respect, friendship." Lureth did not move. Her eyes widened slightly, not in fear or shock, but in focus. Her skin shifted color, deepening into a soft violet hue Elias had never seen before. "I see," she said quietly. Elias laughed nervously. "Sorry if that was weird. Humans do that sometimes. No big deal." Lureth lifted a hand, touching the exact spot on her cheek where his lips had been. Her fingers trembled just a little. "This gesture carries symbolic weight," she said. Elias shrugged. "Yeah, symbols are kind of our thing," she nodded slowly. "I will record this interaction," she said, "with great care." Elias felt a strange chill, but brushed it off. Sure. Safe travels, Lureth." "Safe existence, Elias Carter," she replied. She turned and walked toward the docking corridor, her posture perfectly calm. Elias watched her go, unaware that somewhere in her personal data archive, a new classification had just been created. Intent acknowledged, legacy initiated. Later that night, Elias sat alone in his quarters, staring at the station window. Stars drifted past like quiet thoughts. He replayed the kiss in his mind and winced. "Probably shouldn't have done that," he muttered. Humans had caused diplomatic incidents over far less. Still, nothing happened. No alarms, no angry messages, no station officials knocking on his door. Elias eventually went to sleep, unaware that several decks away, Lureth was standing before a Thrixari hollow shrine, her hands folded, her expression peaceful. "The human has offered symbolic unity," she said aloud, recording her final report. His species does not fully understand the depth of their own gestures. She paused. That may be their greatest strength. The shrine pulsed softly. Reproductive intent verified. Cross-species adaptation protocol engaged. Lureth closed her eyes. Tomorrow she would return. And Elias Carter's life would never be simple again. Elias Carter woke up to the sound of his door chime. At first, he thought he was dreaming. Orion Station always made noise. Soft humming walls, distant footsteps, air vents breathing like sleeping animals. But this sound was different. Clear, polite, repeated chime, pause, chime. Elias groaned and rolled over in his bed. Too early, he muttered. The station clock glowed softly on the wall, morning cycle. His shift did not start for another hour. No one ever came to his quarters this early unless something was wrong. The door chimed again. Elias sighed, pushed himself up, and rubbed his eyes. He pulled on a loose station shirt and walked toward the door, his mind already running through possible problems. Translation error, cultural complaint. Another human accidentally insulted an ambassador again. He pressed the panel. The door slid open. Lureth stood there. She looked exactly the same as the night before, calm posture, smooth silver-blue skin, eyes steady and focused. But this time she was not alone. In her arms, wrapped in a soft, glowing fabric, was a small living being. Elias stared. His brain stopped working. The baby, or whatever it was about the size of a human newborn. Its skin shimmered faintly, shifting colors like gentle light underwater. Its eyes were closed. Its chest rose and fell in slow, peaceful breaths. Lureth looked at Elias with quiet certainty. "Good morning," she said. Elias opened his mouth. Nothing came out. She took a small step forward. "I have returned as promised." Elias blinked. "Returned," she gently adjusted her grip on the child, "to present you with our offspring." Silence filled the corridor. Somewhere far away, a station announcement echoed in an alien language. A service drone floated past, unaware that Elias Carter's life had just collapsed into confusion. "Our what?" Elias finally whispered. Lureth tilted her head slightly. "Our child." Elias stared at the glowing infant, then he laughed. It was not a happy laugh. It was the kind that came from panic, disbelief, and a desperate hope that this was some strange joke. That's not funny," he said. "I mean good joke, but this is not humor," Lureth replied gently. Elias' smile faded. She held the baby a little higher, as if presenting proof. "Symbolic intent was exchanged," she continued calmly. "Biological replication has been completed." Elias took a step back. "No," he said quickly. "No, I didn't, that's not how." He stopped himself, breathing fast. "We kissed," he said. "That's it, just a kiss on the cheek. Humans do that. It doesn't mean—" "It meant intent," Lureth said. "For you," Elias snapped, then immediately regretted his tone. "Sorry, this is wrong. There's been a mistake." "There has been no error," she said softly. The baby made a small sound, a quiet hum-like noise. Its skin brightened slightly. Elias froze. "That thing just reacted," he whispered. "It recognizes you," Lureth said. Elias felt dizzy. "Okay," he said slowly. "Okay, let's just sit down somewhere, because I think I'm about to fall over." They sat inside Elias' small quarters. Lureth sat carefully on the edge of the chair, holding the child with practiced ease. Elias paced back and forth, running his hands through his hair. "This isn't possible," he said for the 5th time. "I'm human, you're Thrixari, different biology, different everything." "Yes," Lureth agreed, "which is why physical reproduction was unnecessary." Elias stopped pacing. "What?" She looked at him patiently. "The Thrixari do not require physical union. We reproduce through interpreted symbolic commitment." Elias stared at her. "You what?" "When intent is offered and accepted," she explained, "our bodies respond. Genetic patterns are selected and combined through biosymbolic synthesis." Elias blinked. "You're saying you made a baby because of a kiss?" "Yes. A goodbye kiss." "Yes. A friendly, meaningless human goodbye kiss." Lureth paused. "To humans, perhaps," she said. "Not to us." Elias sank into his bed. "This can't be happening," he murmured. "I didn't agree to this. I didn't even know it was a thing." Lureth watched him closely. "You did not resist." "Because I didn't know I had to," she nodded slowly. "This is why humans are unique." That was not comforting. A sudden chime echoed through the room. Elias jumped. "What now?" The station communicator lit up. "Incoming priority visit, Cultural Oversight Division." Elias groaned. "Of course." The door slid open moments later and 2 figures entered. One was human, a woman in a crisp uniform with tired eyes and a permanent frown. Director Hale, head of cultural oversight. The other was not human at all. Tall, thin, with translucent skin and glowing markings along its arms, a senior observer from a neutral species. Their eyes immediately went to the baby. Director Hale stopped walking. "Oh no," she said quietly. Elias looked at her desperately. "Please tell me this isn't what it looks like." She stared at the child. "Is that a Thrixari hybrid?" she asked. Lureth nodded politely. "Yes." Director Hale closed her eyes. "What did you do, Carter?" Elias threw his hands up. "I kissed her goodbye." The alien observer tilted its head. "Ah," it said, "human physical symbolism." Director Hale pinched the bridge of her nose. "How bad?" The observer studied the infant, scanning it with a soft light from its eyes. "Remarkable," it said. "Rapid synthesis, stable hybridization, emotional imprinting." "It reacted to him," Hale said quietly. "Yes," the observer replied. "The human is recognized as a genetic anchor." Elias felt sick. "I didn't mean to," he said softly. "I swear I would never." Director Hale looked at him. "I know," she said. "That's what scares everyone." Lureth shifted slightly. "Is there an issue?" Hale hesitated, then chose her words carefully. "This has diplomatic implications," she said. "Big ones." Within hours, Elias' quiet mistake became station-wide news. Not publicly announced, but whispered in offices, sent through encrypted channels, discussed in emergency meetings. A human had unintentionally initiated cross-species reproduction without violence, coercion, or technology. Just kindness. Other species began reviewing human interaction records. Handshakes, hugs, smiles, casual touches, gestures humans barely thought about. Elias sat alone in a meeting room while officials argued outside. Through the glass wall, he could see Lureth sitting calmly, rocking the baby. The child's skin glowed brighter when Elias looked at it. Director Hale entered the room. "You're not in trouble," she said quickly. "Not yet. That's comforting," Elias replied weakly. She sighed. "Carter, this could change everything. Humans might be the only species capable of triggering universal symbolic bonding." "That sounds bad. It could be very good," she said, "or very dangerous." Elias swallowed. "What about the baby?" Hale looked at the child. "It exists," she said. "That alone changes the galaxy." Elias leaned back in his chair. "I just wanted to say goodbye," he whispered. That night, Lureth placed the sleeping child gently in a small station crib beside Elias' bed. "You do not have to stay," Elias said quietly. "I will," she replied. "Shared origin creates shared responsibility." The baby stirred, reaching out a tiny glowing hand. It touched Elias' finger. He felt warmth, not heat, something deeper, connection. For the first time, Elias stopped panicking. He was still terrified, but he was no longer running. Elias Carter did not sleep that night. He lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling while the station lights slowly shifted through their night cycle. Beside the bed, the small crib glowed softly. The baby slept peacefully, making quiet humming sounds that felt almost musical. Every time Elias closed his eyes, his mind filled with the same thought. This is real. He had not imagined it. He had not misunderstood a joke. There was a child in his room that somehow belonged to him. Across the room, Lureth sat still, her posture calm and perfect, as if this situation was the most natural thing in the universe. "You're too calm," Elias finally said. Lureth turned her head slightly. "I am functioning within expected parameters." Elias laughed quietly. "Figures." The baby stirred and reached out again, tiny fingers opening and closing in the air. Elias stood up without thinking and moved closer. The moment his hand came near, the child's skin brightened, glowing a warm gold. Lureth watched closely. "The child responds to you strongly," she said. "That makes it worse," Elias replied. "Or better, I don't know anymore." Lureth considered this. "Humans struggle with uncertainty." "We're great at it," Elias said dryly. "We just hate it." By morning, Orion's station was no longer quiet. Elias noticed it the moment he stepped into the corridor. People stopped talking when they saw him. Aliens paused mid-motion. Some stared openly, others pretended not to look but failed badly. Whispers followed him. "That's him." Director Hale met them at the end of the corridor, her expression serious but controlled. "We're moving you to a secured cultural wing," she said. "Temporary." "Am I being locked up?" Elias asked. "No," Hale replied. "Protected." "That's worse." They walked through halls Elias had never seen before, clean, quiet, filled with observation windows and soft lighting. At the center was a large room prepared like a living space, not a cell. This will be your residence for now, Hale said. You're important. Elias rubbed his face. I don't want to be important. Lureth entered the room and gently placed the child into another waiting crib. The baby's glow adjusted to the new space almost instantly. Hale watched, fascinated despite herself. It's adapting fast, she said. It's learning, Lureth corrected. The galaxy learned about the child within hours. Official messages arrived from multiple species. Requests for observation, requests for data, requests for meetings. Some were curious, some were worried, some were afraid. A human had created a hybrid life without force, technology, or intention. That scared a lot of people. Elias sat through his first council meeting feeling very small. Representatives appeared as holograms around a large circular chamber. Shapes and colors filled the air, beings of light, metal, gas, and flesh. At the center stood Elias, Lureth, and the child. The baby stared at the lights, fascinated. This meeting will begin, announced a neutral voice. A tall, crystalline being spoke first. Humans are careless with symbolism. This incident proves it. A soft, floating shape replied, or it proves they are naturally compatible with life creation. Another voice, deep and slow, echoed. If a simple gesture creates offspring, humans are a risk. Elias clenched his fists. Lureth stepped forward. The human did not deceive me, she said calmly. He offered connection without expectation. That is rare. Rare does not mean safe, another voice replied. Elias swallowed and spoke before he lost his nerve. I didn't plan this, he said. I didn't even understand it, but I'm not running from it either. The chamber went quiet. I won't pretend this is normal, Elias continued. But the baby didn't ask to be born, and neither did I ask to be special. He looked around at the watching faces. All humans do is try to connect, he said. Sometimes we mess up, sometimes it changes things. That doesn't make us dangerous, it makes us human. The baby let out a small sound, glowing brightly. Several representatives reacted with surprise. It responds to emotional tone, one observed. It recognizes sincerity, another said quietly. Outside the chamber, reactions spread across the station. Some humans were proud, others were afraid. What if aliens misunderstand us? I don't know how to do this, Elias whispered. The child's glow softened, steady and calm. For the first time, Elias realized something important. The baby was not afraid. Lureth joined him later, sitting beside him. You are troubled, she said. I'm scared, Elias admitted. Not of the baby, of what comes next. The galaxy fears what it does not control, Lureth said. Humans cannot control themselves as easily. That's one way to say it. She looked at him carefully. Why did you kiss me? Elias thought for a long moment. Because I cared, he said, because it felt wrong to leave without showing that. Lureth nodded. That is why my people chose you. Elias frowned. Chose me? Yes, she said softly. The Thrixari observed many humans. You were the only one who offered connection without advantage. Elias felt his chest tighten. So this wasn't an accident? It was, she said. And it was. The baby reached out, touching both of them. Its glow brightened. By the end of the day, the council made a decision. Humans would not be restricted. Instead, they would be studied. Human gestures would be classified, taught, and shared across the galaxy. Human empathy would become a field of study. Elias Carter would become the center of it. Director Hale delivered the news. You're not just a translator anymore, she said. You're proof. Elias looked down at the baby. I don't want to be proof, he said quietly. I want to be enough. Hale smiled sadly. You already are. That night, as Orion's station drifted through the stars, the baby slept between two worlds. And the galaxy watched. Not with fear, but with curiosity. Elias Carter had never wanted attention. Now the galaxy would not stop looking at him. The secured cultural wing felt quiet, but Elias knew it was not truly private. Sensors watched everything. Observers studied patterns, emotions, and reactions, not in a cruel way, but in a careful, curious way. Humans had become a question, and Elias was the example. He stood near the wide window, looking out at the stars. Orion's station drifted slowly, a metal island surrounded by endless black and light. The baby slept in its crib nearby, glowing softly, its small chest rising and falling. Lureth stood beside him. The council is divided, she said calmly. Elias sighed. Of course they are. They wish to understand whether humans should continue unrestricted contact, she continued. Some believe your species is a bridge, others believe you are a risk. Because we don't think before we feel, Elias said. Yes, Lureth replied, and because you feel even when you should not. Elias smiled weakly. That sounds bad when you say it like that. She turned to him. It is also why the child exists. Elias looked at the baby. I still can't believe this all started because I didn't want to be rude. The pressure grew quickly. Delegations arrived from different species requesting meetings with Elias. Some asked polite questions, some asked personal ones. How do humans define responsibility? One afternoon, Director Hale entered the room with a serious expression. They want you to make a statement, she said. To who? To everyone, Hale replied. A public address, human values, your intentions, your role. Elias laughed nervously. I'm a translator, not a leader. Today, Hale said gently, you're both. Elias looked down at the baby, who was awake now, staring up at him with glowing eyes. What if I say the wrong thing? Elias asked. Hale hesitated. Then the galaxy will still hear honesty. That matters. That evening, Elias sat alone before the broadcast. The room was simple, no decorations, just a chair, a soft light, and a camera that connected to countless worlds. Lureth stood behind him, holding the child. You do not have to do this, she said. I know, Elias replied. He took a deep breath. But if humans are being judged, he continued, then someone has to speak as one. The signal activated. Elias looked into the camera. My name is Elias Carter, he said. I'm human. He paused. I didn't plan any of this. I didn't want to create something new. I didn't want attention or power or influence. He swallowed. I kissed someone goodbye because I cared. That's it. Across the galaxy, beings listened. Humans are not perfect, Elias continued. We make mistakes. We misunderstand. We feel first and think later. He glanced back at the baby. But when something happens because of us, we don't walk away. We stay. We learn. We take responsibility even when we're scared. The baby's glow brightened. If that makes us dangerous, Elias said quietly, then I don't know how to be anything else. He straightened. But if it makes us capable of connection where others hesitate, then maybe that's our purpose. The transmission ended. Elias felt exhausted. Reactions came fast. Some species expressed relief, others expressed concern, but something had changed. The baby began showing stronger responses, not just to Elias, but to others who spoke with honesty. It reacted to calm voices, softened, light, gentle presence. Scientists observed carefully. It responds to emotional intent, they reported. Not species, not status, intent. That discovery shook the councils. This was not a weapon, it was not a tool, it was proof that connection itself could create life. Later that night, Elias sat with Lureth while the baby slept between them. Do you regret this? Elias asked quietly. Lureth considered the question. No, she said. Do you? Elias thought of his quiet life before, his simple job, his anonymity, then he looked at the child. No, he said honestly. I'm terrified, but I don't regret it. Lureth nodded. That is why humans endure. The final council meeting was tense. Representatives spoke carefully. Humans cannot be restricted without harming galactic unity, one said. They must be educated, another argued. Their gestures are powerful. Then teach us, Elias said from the center of the chamber. Silence followed. I don't want humans to stop being human, he continued. But we can learn, we always do. Lureth stepped forward. The Thrixari accept shared guardianship, she said. Not ownership, choice. The council considered this. At last, the decision was made. Humans would not be limited. Instead, human emotional expression would become a protected and studied form of diplomacy. Elias Carter would not be punished. He would be invited. That night, Elias stood once more at the window. The stars looked the same, but everything else had changed. The baby slept peacefully, glowing softly between two worlds. Elias reached out, gently touching its small hand. Guess we're doing this, he whispered. The baby hummed quietly in response. For the first time, Elias felt something stronger than fear. He felt purpose.